Samsung Galaxy Note 7 Review. Design. Samsung is moving fast these days. After it showcased its new glass design language for the first time last year with the S6, it has continued to refine it. First, by introducing gentle curves to the rear glass with the Note 5, and now, by making it more symmetrical all around with the Note 7. Viewed from the side, the Note 7 has the same exact curves and shapes towards the front and the rear, which is very aesthetically pleasing. Unfortunately, Samsung's promise for a balanced, symmetrical design isn't completely fulfilled, as the handset's top bezel is ever so slightly taller than the bottom one. Maybe this will be perfected in the next generation, maybe not. And not to avoid the obvious comparisons with the Galaxy S7 Edge, here are the differences. The Note 7 is slightly, but noticeably, wider and taller, with a less pronounced screen curve, which we actually prefer. That said, I find the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 to be a very attractive phone overall. Available in 4 shiny colors, light gray, black, gold, and the brand new blue/orange, there's hardly a variant of it that doesn't look fancy. That's especially true for the new two-tone one, called Blue Coral, which combines front and rear glass in light blue with a metal frame in soft orange. Samsung is willing to have a little fun and experiment with color schemes that happen to be out of the norm, and that's a great thing. Just as its predecessor, the Galaxy Note 7 has the same highly reflective, mirror glass finish that is all nice and shiny, but can quickly get messy due to fingerprints sticking like crazy. To me, that's not a big problem, because I like the unslippery nature of glossy surfaces. It makes the Note 7 easy to handle. And speaking of handling, the soft, rounded nature of the Galaxy Note 7 definitely helps in terms of perceived dimensions and convenience. However, this is not a phone to be used one-handed, that's for sure. It is definitely on the clunkier side. In fact, it almost slipped out of my pocket once while I was driving, so, yeah, be sure to have some really deep pockets on your clothes, or bring a bag to carry the Note 7 inches. In terms of overall quality of execution, the Note 7 inspires confidence. It's not obsessive, in a way that would see different buttons, speaker grills, mics, and other holes and elements around a metal frame aligned perfectly, but it does feel nice and solid. The volume and power keys are a tad soft when pressed, but not to an annoying extent. The hidden capacitive multitasking and back keys surrounding the home button can cause some annoyance at times upon being accidentally pressed, but I do prefer the solution to on-screen navigation keys, as it doesn't needlessly take up screen space. A nice thing to know here is that the Note 7's massive display is protected by Gorilla Glass 5, the latest and greatest product from Corning, which is designed to withstand drops from the impressive 5.2 feet, 1.6 meters. According to specification, the glass should resist cracking even if you drop the phone onto hard, rough surfaces. However, do keep in mind Corning says Gorilla Glass 5 is estimated to survive such drops in up to 80% of the time, which doesn't sound particularly encouraging. Hopefully, survival rates will be much better with lower drops. 5.2 feet is quite high, after all. Samsung has confirmed that the Galaxy Note 7's back panel is also made from Gorilla Glass 5, no corner cutting here. And, just to be sure, please do not mistake this glass for something like Moto's Shatter Shield, which is indeed designed to not crack, almost no matter how you drop it. Now, before we continue, there's one other feature we need to talk about, and that's water resistance. This feature returned for the Galaxy S7 series, after being absent from the S6, and thankfully, the manufacturer has found a way to implement it with the Galaxy Note 7 as well. Both the phone itself and the S Pen stylus are IP68 certified, so even if you have the imprudence to drop the Note 7 in up to 5 feet, 1.5 m, of water and leave it there for up to 30 minutes, it's likely to survive. Even if you don't go swimming with your phone, the peace of mind is appreciated. Display. As always, there's a number of color modes to choose from. Here's a breakdown. 1. Adaptive, attempts to optimize screen characteristics depending on the content that you're viewing. Typically, colors are way too saturated in this mode, so we wouldn't recommend using it. 2 AMOLED Cinema sets the Note 7 screen to the DCI-P3 color space, which is wider than traditional sRGB. It's recommended for HDR10 video playback, but more on that in the multimedia part. 3 AMOLED Photo sets the Note 7 to the Adobe RGB color space. 4 Basic sets the Note 7's display to the standard sRGB color space, which should be used in, like, 99% of the time. Aside from the color balance inconsistencies we mentioned above, it's also worth noting that the gamma for both the US and the international phones is measured at close to 2.0, causing the screen to appear slightly washed out. To summarize, should you get the US model, color balance and overall authenticity, if you use basic screen mode, will be top-notch. The international model, however, leaves something to be desired. New interface. As mentioned in the beginning, the Samsung software layer, which we're used to calling TouchWiz, is constantly being reworked and updated. This remains true with the Galaxy Note 7, which comes with not only a bunch of new features, but refreshed visuals as well. Powered by Android 6.0.1, the Note 7 brings a new visual style where everything is much cleaner and more simplified than in any other previous Galaxy. It also attempts to standardize icon shapes, by putting them in white icon frames. Many Android makers have tried to do that in the past, and all have failed. Samsung's latest attempt, however, works rather well for the most part, with only occasional unsuccessful instances, like the Hearthstone icon, for example, which looks weird with its edges cut off. If you're not into standardized icon shapes, you can always disable this feature from the settings. TouchWiz continues to be a largely versatile thing, with a lot of settings and options to tinker with. It even comes with a Themes app where you can radically change the look of the user interface, complete with the app icons. Camera. What is a Galaxy smartphone without a superb camera? That's exactly what we get with the Note 7, the same 12MP shooter that has already made the Galaxy S7 the wonderful camera phone that it is. Battery life. Samsung Galaxy Note 7 review. So, how's the battery life with the Note 7? It has a 3500 mAh unit that can be charged either through the reversible USB Type-C port, a first for a Galaxy phone, or wirelessly, if you purchase the separate wireless charger accessory. After using the phone for a few days, I can safely say it can last through a full day of moderate usage. Standby time seemed to have gotten a bit better compared to the Galaxies of old. The phone loses somewhere around 10% of battery over the night. Still, I would advise against leaving the Note 7 not plugged in overnight when it's low on juice. Conclusion. The Galaxy Note 7 is an almost incomprehensibly versatile smartphone. It can do so much right out of the box. However, the large screen, the seemingly endless functionality, and all of that S Pen goodness are obviously not for everybody. So who is it for? Samsung Galaxy Note 7 review. Samsung says the Note 7 is for the overachievers and the multitaskers of the world, for people who want to do more, while on the go. And while that's true to some extent, I don't necessarily fully agree. More often than not, the Note 7's own features stand in the way of efficiency. With so much going on all at the same time, the Note 7's sheer ambition can quickly feel overwhelming. If you tend to thrive in chaos, and don't mind tackling several tasks at once, this may be just the right smartphone for you. After all, it has most of the essentials right, and it's extremely powerful and flexible. If you're regularly going as far as to edit spreadsheets, or draw, or watch full-length movies, or have two apps open side by side, the Note 7 is, without a doubt, a great choice. But, if you, instead, see yourself as a more of a mainstream consumer, not necessarily a football junkie, there's an extremely similar, but slightly scaled down experience available out there, and it's called Galaxy S7 Edge.